Hi, it's Nicola here from Mint Business Club, and thank you so much, Paul, for asking me to speak on day 5, do this little video for you. And the topic this time is about pivoting in our business. So it's something that is quite a thing at the moment, isn't it? All the talk of pivot. And so I'm delighted to just give you my thoughts from, I guess, the last 12 years of being self-employed, running 3 businesses now, about what pivoting has meant for us. And if you think of pivot and what that means for your business, you've either started to do it or you're on the cusp of doing something different, then I hope this helps. Okay, so the word pivot, it's a bit of a buzzword, isn't it? And having a look and doing a bit of research, it's really about making significant change in your business, right? Where you're just gonna go this way and pivot maybe away from what you've always been known for or what you're doing. And at the minute, there are an awful lot of us who have pivoted online, and that's because of necessity. But I want to think about the other 2 moments in my sort of self-employed career where I've pivoted and they've been completely different reasons. The first time, the reason was blind panic. There's no doubt about that. The second time, in my second business actually, when we pivoted, it was because it was the absolute right thing to do. And this time, this pivot is because we've just absolutely had no choice. If we hadn't pivoted our business, Mint Business Club, in the pandemic, I would have no Mint Business Club. So let's go to point 1 then. Company number 1, Days of Green magazine, an online magazine, awesome, all about small business, all about ethical small businesses. So there we were 12 years ago trying to do this thing which was quite new then, which was have a completely online business. We always ran small events, but they were always up in the Northeast, but within probably 12 months, we realised that what we needed to do was run these bigger events, do more, because we could offer our clients more. Like we could give them editorial on the magazine, we could run competitions online for them. But if we were running these eco fairs and eco events, then of course we could offer them so much more. It was very well thought through. We bought, thank you, Bank of Mum and Dad, we bought this other company, okay? So we went down, we did loads of due diligence, not enough as it happens, but we bought this other company. So there we were, pivoting our business from being online with a couple of local things that we were doing to being a national events company, running big eco fairs, going to like the Kent County Show, BBC Gardeners World Live, and having our eco village as part of those. But really, on reflection now, I know that we made those decisions, although I could justify all of them, although I could absolutely say, look, this is great for our clients. It was because we weren't selling enough on the magazine. We didn't know how to bring enough money in the business that we had. And at that time, there were no programs like Newcastle Startup Week with all the support and the dozens of programs across the Northeast. What we have at Mint, there was nobody who was going to sit me down and go, do you know what, right? You don't need to go buy another events company and start doing that. That's a completely new business model. You need to work out how to run the business that you've got. You need to work out how to sell more and how to manage it better. So that pivot came out of absolute blind panic. I just thought it would get us some money in. And no matter how I tried to parcel that up and put the bow on it, that is what was at the real reason for that pivot. Not great. The company folded after 5 years. We tried our best. I'd given up my job for it. I loved that business and I still do. I loved what we did and what we did achieve. But because we didn't have the foundations of business in there, that huge pivot took us completely down the wrong road. So let's go to company number 2, Digital Sparkles. I ran that for 7 years and that was far more successful, pleasingly. But the big pivot in that one was when we changed from being a service provider on retained one-to-one clients to tendering for and winning big training contracts in the Northeast, working with lots of other partners in the Northeast. Now that pivot was completely correct. And it was correct because people started asking us for that service. Our clients would come to us and say, you use digital media, you're everywhere, Nick, you're everywhere. That's what it's for, social media. You're everywhere. Can you teach us how to do what you're doing? We see you, we see you, we see you. We want a bit of that. So we were already delivering training one-on-one, 1 to maybe 2 or 3 employees, whatever it was. The idea, though, that we'd completely rebadge ourselves as a training organisation first and go for those big tenders, that wasn't on the radar for us. But it was when the opportunity was presented to us through our network, it was completely the right thing to do. It just made sense, and for me and my values, it made sense. Because that's what I want to do. I want to help as many small businesses as possible, probably not make the mistakes I did in my first one. So that pivot, it was a pivot. It was brand new. It was a different way of working on big contracts. It was learning how to write tenders and win that work. It was learning how to collaborate with other companies and co-tender. But you know what? It was the best thing for the company. Without a shadow of a doubt, we doubled our turnover. We had a really healthy profit margin and that worked. But then here I am sitting in my business club, which isn't Digital Sparkles. And Digital Sparkles was a really successful 6-figure turnover company with me in it with a good profit. So why then pivot again? Why then do something else? And that pivot in me was about being able to do what I did in Digital Sparkles, but extend that much further. So instead of just being able to offer like a 12-hour training session, it seemed to me that the small businesses, you guys, needed more than just 12 hours. You needed to be able to keep coming back and stay accountable and have colleagues and be able to build your businesses and not feel lonely at home. So that pivoted into that, and I ran both companies together. That was actually a real personal moment. That was about me and what I wanted to deliver. And here we are in Mint, and the biggest pivot, I guess, is it the biggest pivot? The biggest change I've ever had to make in my business was to save this one. Whereas, 12 years ago, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. Mint Business Club is now an online only business club. It never was going to be. I never wanted it to be. Never ever wanted it to be. I didn't want to go online at all. There were loads of other businesses online. There weren't many doing face-to-face because it's hard work. But it's, and I'm not saying online's not hard work there, by the way, just in case anyone's watching, because it blooming is. But for me, my values of sitting in a training suite, getting people together, that was like the top of the pile. That was like it. I didn't ever want to, go online. But the only way to save this business after 12 years was because there was no other choice. The pandemic has absolutely made that certain. If we hadn't, and we did it very, very quickly in a couple of days, if we hadn't started delivering training online, and keeping our members together, we'd have no business. Now, you might argue that we were training face-to-face, so to change and deliver training online is not actually a big change. But it is, it's huge, it's massive, it's completely different business model. How you recruit the members is a different business model. What we're doing is completely different from where we were. My husband, can you hear him in the background, just come up the stairs with a cup of tea for us, and I'm waving, so you'll all be wondering why I'm waving while I'm recording this video for you all. But that's a moment, isn't it, right? I'm not starting again, so you're getting it how it is. Back to it. Our business, wouldn't have survived if we hadn't pivoted. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be filming this, waving at my husband madly, tell him not to come upstairs. I wouldn't be doing it. I just wouldn't be doing it because that pivot was forced on us. Now, we could argue that we should have had better resilience planning. If I'd had better resilience planning in the business, proper growth modeling and resilience planning in the business, then I might have been able to think, well, do you know what? If ever there is a moment that stops us having 20%, 30%, 40% revenue, that it just drops by 30 or 40%, then what would we do? And we might then have thought through and thought, well, you know what? If we were selling stuff online as well as doing face-to-face, if the face-to-face stuff dropped off, then we can go to online. And if the online stuff drops off, then we've got the face-to-face. But never did I want to do that. I mean, this pandemic has opened my eyes to opportunities that I was seriously close to. Seriously and absolutely close to. So, this thing with pivot, people don't like the word. All pivoting is, you know, a fundamental change, a big change in your organization, in your business. That could be you bringing in a new product range. It could be, you know, you deciding to collaborate with someone over there. It could be like me, where you change, you know, you change how you do stuff, or you just tweak it, but it's always about a change. So what I would ask of you, if you are thinking about pivoting, if you want to pivot, if you're just there thinking, should I not? What is the reason for you doing it? What planning have you got in place? What market research have you done? You know, if you're about to launch a new product, have you asked the customers if they want those? Have you done any proper market research? If you're in a moment like pandemic moment and you're having to pivot and it is absolutely the only way to save your business, then you've just got to get on with it. That's it. We just had to get on with it. It was like, do this or don't have a business, Nicola. Okay, right, we'll have a go. What I would absolutely ask you to do is the stuff I didn't do 12 years ago, when I didn't admit to myself that actually pivoting was a sticker, a plaster, a band-aid, you know, elastoplast that was going to mask over the underlying problems we had in our business, which was about our lack of fundamental skills. You know, those foundational skills, being able to sell, knowing your numbers, understanding every part of running a business. If someone had done that with us then we wouldn't have bought that company. We would not have pivoted like that. And of course, you know, if customers are asking you for stuff, if they're asking you for different services, if they're asking you, can you do this for you? And if enough of those customers do that, then there's a real like highlight a moment, isn't it? Light bulb moment that thinks, right, I need to do more of that. People keep asking us for more of that. So actually that pivot is based on our customers asking for stuff. Pivoting is great if it's you know, it's great if it's planned for. It's exciting. It's almost like running a new business. I mean, for me, this mint versus that, it is like a new business, you know. But it's that adrenaline rush, isn't it? That change that we get when we start our first business in the first place, you know. But what I would just implore you to do is, if you are going to pivot, if you're thinking about it, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Or if it's because of the pandemic, then we've just got to have a go. So I hope that gives you something to think about, or just some just, you know, to understand that we are living it with you. You know, we are all on the same sea. We might not be in the same boat at the moment, you know, because we're all facing this pandemic differently, but we're definitely on the same sea. So if I can help at all, it's Mint Business Club. I've been Nicola, and I'm going to go off and drink that cup of tea that my husband so kindly brought up for us. So enjoy the rest of the day and all of the playback. And thank you always to the team. You're amazing. Thank you for inviting me to come and speak for you. See you later now. Bye.